Today we will be talking about closing the gender pay gap. Next slide. So, what really is gender pay gap? The gender pay gap is the average difference between the remuneration for men and women who are working. The gender pay gap can start when women first enter the workforce. The gap between women's and men's earnings is a symptom of a broader cultural problem in workplaces. It reflects the historic undervaluing of women's workplace contributions. The gender pay gap across developed and developing countries stands at 20% according to the latest information from the International Labour Organization. That means for every $1 earned by a man around the world, a woman earns an average of 80 cents. Next slide. According to an analysis in 2018 by Graf, Brown, and Patton from the Pew Research Center, women would have to work 39 more days to match the same paychecks of men. Next slide. Now, let's look into why is it important to close the gender pay gap. There are many possible reasons on why is it important, but today we will be focusing on three main reasons. One, economic factors, two, rules of law, and number three, impact of single mothers. Next slide. The impact of pay gap impacts almost all dimensions of our society. Despite having the debate over the causes of our gender pay gap, many experts agree leveling it will have economic benefits. A 2017 study by the Institute of Women's Policy Research found that the poverty rate of working women would be cut in half if women earned as much as men. An international organization named ActionAid that aims to reduce poverty estimated that equal pay would boost women's earnings in developing countries by $2 trillion. Higher wages would encourage more women to enter the labor market, leading to an increase in the productive capacity of the economy. An increase in women's salaries also means it is likely to lower poverty rates among women, which will have an increase in country's GDP per capita. It also means that now more women can contribute to tax revenue. And in this context, our government would earn more money, which would fund welfare systems or other affairs funded by taxation for the development of the country. Now, Abdullah will be taking over and we'll take a look into the other two reasons.
Rule of the law. There has been 3 laws which stated that women should pay equally as much as men. According to the Malaysian law, National Wage Consecutive Council Act 732 Section 23, which established on September 5, 2011, aims to reduce inequality, reduce poverty, increases minimum wage. In Malaysia, the average household income has increased from 5,000 ringgit a month in 2012 to 6,900 in 2016. The average salary and the wage also has increased in 2,400 in 2016 compared to 1,800 in 2012. The labor productivity also increased from 71,000 in 2012 to 78,000 in 2016. This law is not only beneficial to women, but also is to provide an example of equality which provide the ethic of a society. Second law is Finnish equality that established at 1st January 1987. This law aims to prevent discrimination on sex and to promote equality between women and men, and for this purpose, to improve the status of women, particularly in a working life. The third law is a Singapore law under Article 12, established on December 5, 2010. The law aims that all individuals are equal under the law and required to equal legal protection. However, the Constitution does not accept nor promote equality between the sexes. There is also no legislation in Singapore that prohibits discrimination on sex, meaning all employers have a complete freedom in a wage discrimination. In comparison, the in comparison, in USA has, for example, the 2009 Lele Better Equality Pay Act, which prohibited sex-based wage discrimination. We can see those three laws of a different three countries prove that the women deserve pay equally like men. Let's go to the next point. Let's go to the next point that will give a reason that women deserve paid equally. Impact of single mothers and the income gap. First, the single mothers are pushed into software jobs in order to keep up with the family spending. Second, earning of a single mother affects the children's education. Single mothers are forced to work multiple jobs to keep up with family expenses, like rent, school, and heavy taxes. In November 2016, 53% were women with multiple jobs. In 2017, it has been recorded that 3 out of 4 young families depend on their mothers. Let me give you an example that will give you a better picture. Assume those two girls as co-workers. We have Asia in the left-hand side. She has one full job, but she's paid as much as man. If you look the other side, Amanda, she has one full job but 2 part-time jobs, and she's not paid as much as man. So what's the difference? Asia doesn't have a difficulty of living her life, but Amanda have a difficulty living her life because of she's pregnant. So we can say if women are paid as much as men, the financial difficulty will be lifted out. So the next point is earning of a single mother affects the children's education. Low income of mothers are causing children to stop their education because they cannot afford to pay tuition fees or school supplies. In 2014, high school dropout rate for 16-24 years old in a low-income families was 11.6% highest. Women deserve to pay equally to provide their houses with a better life. Now I will pass to Tian that will talk about the reason why men are paid more than women.
Thanks, Sapna, for passing over the mic. A popular stereotype of women is that they aren't as competent as men when it comes to their jobs, and this stereotype has stood the test of time, sadly. If you pay attention to the picture, you might recognize the couple from Grey's Anatomy, the show. In the early days of the show, Pompeo was only paid about half of what Dempsey earned. The sad part comes when he left in 2015. And the show's producers weren't sure of the show's future since then. In certain fields, strength is a prerequisite for progress. However, with COVID-19 ravaging society, the demand for delivery people and delivered food is at an all-time high. As delivery people, you would be expected to deliver individual dishes rather than huge amounts of food. And with that comes decreased workload. And this is what gives female delivery people an edge when competing against their male colleagues. Now, some statistics. In America, only 10% of CEOs are females. To extrapolate, only 15% of the world's countries have an elected female in office. If I were to sum it all up, unfairness would still haunt women in power and working ladies, one way or another. Now, this is why you won't see women in executive positions very often. One of which is that men have been heading institutions since traditional times. And if you look at their female counterparts, the percentage would often be somewhere near 2 dimes. 2 dimes, sorry, 10 dimes make a dollar, mind you. And speaking of money, if you are a weak woman seeking promotion, chances are you're out of luck. You would need to be more energetic, more sociable, about as sociable as a man. And when a man socializes with top brass, it could lead to networks and better chances of promotion, which is what you would need to succeed in the industry. Even when females are sociable, they often aren't the most popular choice. Research has shown that in a group of participants, over half of the males were chosen as leaders for a project. However, when participants were female, the percentage dropped to an abysmal 44. In conclusion, we should in conclusion, we still think that women should be paid equally to men, because countries' people could be happier. Single mothers would not have as much financial burdens, and bosses who would purposely underpay the workers on a sexual basis would have to face the music. And honestly, negative stereotypes surrounding women should be abolished. I have spoken to inform the viewers of why women deserve to be paid equally to men. Partially also to persuade them. So after this video, remember that women still struggle for pay equality, even in 2020. This has been Tiang, Naimo, up and up.